What's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine back with another video. Welcome to a video that I wanted to put together. This is the differences between the Huawei Mate 10 Pro versus the Honor View 10. Now, let's just dive right into this because I know I've been getting a lot of questions. People have been asking me, like, what's the difference between the two? Why is Huawei, the more expensive model when, they've got the same internals pretty much? And as we know, Huawei are actually Honor is a sub-brand division of Huawei. Huawei makes all of Honor products, but Honor is more so Huawei's like mid-range, division. And although they have some really good devices, they just recently put out the Honor View 10, which I think is rivaling the OnePlus 5T directly in any phone that's in that particular class. But those devices are also considered flagship killing devices, and a lot of people feel as though the Honor View 10 here is definitely a flagship killer, and I definitely agree with that because this phone is a monster. So let's just go down a few of the things, few of the differences, and see if we can kind of pinpoint whether or not, the Mate 10 Pro is, in fact, a better option than the Honor View 10. I mean, that could just be a matter of preference. So let's go down. Let's go down the sheet here. Now one of the differences is the design. Now, the Mate 10 Pro is definitely the more premiumly built device. And we know a lot of the premium devices nowadays are being built with glass on the front and the back. And so that's what we've got. We've got an unspecified grade of Corning Gorilla Glass on the front and the back of the Huawei Mate 10 Pro here. And as you can see, this is the titanium gray color, and it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, so definitely, as far as what looks better, what's going to turn heads better, definitely the Honor View 10 is definitely going to do that. Now, not to say that the build quality the Mate 10 Pro is definitely going to do that. Not to say that the build quality is bad on the View 10, but the View 10 is the aluminum unibody, and some people may prefer that over glass. Both of these devices are built very premiumly, built with premium materials. And so, again, that's a matter of preference. If you want a glass device, then obviously the Mate 10 Pro is the option to go with. If you want a full unibody display because you feel like that may be a little bit more durable, a little bit more protective towards drops and everything, as I mentioned, this is glass. So for sure, if you drop this bad boy, you're dealing with some serious cracks, scuffs, all that kind of thing. And so I think that, the View 10, is built and it's going to be a little bit more suitable to stand up against drops and things of that nature. Now, I'm a big fan of cosmetics. I love the way things look. I'm attracted to beautiful things. And I got to say, the Mate 10 Pro is a beautiful piece of hardware. And so I got to give the W to the Mate 10 Pro. All right. Now, but nonetheless, in their respective classes, both of these devices are flagships through and through, no matter what anybody tells you. All right. Now, another one of the key differences is battery. Now, in the Mate 10 Pro, we've got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. All right. In the View 10 here, we've got a 3,750 milliamp hour battery, and so you've got some additional juice here in the Mate 10 Pro. And so although both of these batteries are going to last you all day, screen on time, I don't get into screen on time and all that. Some people say 5.5, 6, 7 hours, great, but a lot of that is going to be solely dependent on how you use your device. Now, I don't think that you're going to kill this battery before a full day. Even if you're using this phone hardcore, like putting it through its paces, the battery life is that good. Okay, now both of these devices, they have Type-C reversible connectors. Huawei is claiming that both of these devices can be charged from 0 to 58% in 30 minutes. Now, another one of the differences as far as the chargers as well is on the Mate 10 Pro, you've got USB 3.1 as opposed to on the View 10, you've got USB 2.0. And so that may make a little bit of difference as far as, charging speeds and things of that nature. But nonetheless, for me, charging both of these phones, they've been lightning quick. So I'd have to say that, Huawei and Honor are both pretty accurate with the information that's given as far as how quickly these devices charge. Right? Now, another one of the key differences here is the display. Okay? And You know, we live in a day and age now where these phones, you know, they're multimedia devices. I mean, some people don't even use the devices to talk on anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, these are telephones. You know, they're meant to be talked on and texted on. All different forms of communication, you know, email, Snapchat, Instagram, you know, Facebook. You got all these social platforms, you know, these front-facing cameras, you know, giving you the ability to, you know, FaceTime or video chat and stuff like that. Well, a lot of people, you know, they watch movies and all kind of video content on their devices, so screen quality is important. So it's worth noting that on the Mate 10 Pro, you've got an AMOLED display. Okay, and we know that AMOLED displays are some of the best looking displays out there. Not to say that IPS displays aren't good, because on the View 10, we've got an IPS LCD full 1080p display. Okay, and it looks really good as well. But when you put it side by side with a phone that has an AMOLED display, in my personal opinion, that AMOLED is just going to beat it every time. And it may not even be by much, but the color reproduction is a little deeper. You know, you get deeper blacks, you get brighter whites or brighter reds or brighter blues. I mean, so, you know, just having that AMOLED technology just really gives the color reproduction, you know, just that oomph, you know, ahead of, in my opinion, a full HD IPS display. Not to say that HD IPS displays are bad, because they're not. And I've owned several phones that only had a full 1080p Super AMOLED or full HD panel, and those were absolutely gorgeous. I'm just simply stating the facts here. If you compare an AMOLED display full 1080 versus or an AMOLED display versus an LCD display, you're definitely going to notice some differences there. Now, yeah, IPS was the word I was looking for. God, I'm getting tongue tied here. I can't even think straight. Now, as far as performance, both of these phones perform the same. They've got the same internal specs. They both have the Kirin, the high silicon Kirin 970 processor. They both have 128 gigs of onboard storage. They both have the same octa-core CPUs, the same GPU. All that stuff is the same. And if you could take a look, I mean, scrolling these devices are the exact same. Just open up a couple of applications. You know, this one's a little slower. I mean, this is connected to my Wi-Fi at home. I've got my SIM card in here. And so, like I said, I mean, these types of speeds and things oftentimes will vary, you know, depending on the type of connection that you've got. So let's go out of that and let's just go to Google Play. And so obviously, you know, my network connection is obviously providing a faster connection than my. Well, let's just go ahead and connect this to the internet. So I'll just turn off mobile data, turn on Wi-Fi. All right, so now let's try that again. So let's clear those out. Boom. Okay. And you see, I mean, they both open up at the same time. I mean, just to kind of give you an example. So, you know, both of these devices, they perform the exact same. I mean, let's go into my home security app. You see that those are identical. And you can actually tell, you can look at the difference. I mean, you know, IPS LCD AMOLED. The colors just seem to be a little bit richer on this device. They seem to pop a little more on the Mate 10 Pro versus what they are on the Honor View 10. You know, just to kind of give you an example there. You know, but you know the performance. It's gonna be the exact same with these devices, man. I mean, so you're not getting shorthanded in any way, shape, or form there. Now, here's one aspect in which you are getting shorthanded. You know, if you're thinking about getting the Mate 10 Pro, or if you already have the Mate 10 Pro, like I said, both of these devices got 128 gigs of onboard storage. All right. Now, the thoughts and impressions video, I gave some misleading information, and I apologize for that. And I'm going to make my corrections in that video. You cannot expand the storage beyond 128 gigs that is already instilled within this device. Now, the Honor View 10 you've got 128 gigs of onboard storage, and you've got an SD card slot for memory expansion. So remember that, folks. Honor View 10, you've got an SD card slot for memory expansion. On the Mate 10 Pro, you have no memory expansion. Now you do have nano SIMs, so you can put dual nano SIMs in both of these devices. Well, actually, I'm not sure about that as well. So actually, I take that back. I just know that we do have 128 gigs of onboard storage on both devices, but on the View 10, you could expand the storage up to 256 gigs, I believe. On the Mate 10 Pro, you've got 128 gigs, and you're stuck with that. That's it. Now, that's a lot of gigage. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Flossie, borrowing some of his verbiage, gigage. But that's a lot of gigs. But a lot of you guys are major downloaders, whether it be music, movies, files, documents, all that kind of stuff, man. And if 128 gigs isn't going to be enough for you, then not sure if the Mate 10 Pro is going to be the phone for you, unless they sell the phone in a higher gigabyte package as far as the storage is concerned. All right. Now, another difference: fingerprint placement, fingerprint scanner placement. Now, you will notice that on the back of the Mate 10 Pro, we've got the fingerprint sensor on the rear, which is where I'd prefer it to be. All right. Now, on the Honor View 10, we've got the fingerprint sensor on the bottom here. Now, this is a matter of preference. Now, as I mentioned, if your phone is sitting on a flat surface, let's go ahead and lock it, and you want to unlock your device, just simply tap it. Or I've got my thumbs to unlock it, so boom. And you see how quickly that unlocks. So, if you're just chilling and your phone is sitting on the table or the couch or, whatever you got it sitting on, and you want to unlock it without picking it up, then yeah, I understand it's convenient to be able to just reach over, touch it, unlock it, and then get down to business, whatever you got to do, as opposed to your phone sitting on a surface and you want to unlock it, and then you got to, if you've got the double tap feature to wake up your screen, you can do that, or you just hit the button, and then depending on your security features, you got to go through all the screen unlocking and all that, and then you got to pick up the phone anyway and hit the fingerprint sensor and unlock it. Now, me personally, as simple as I try to make things for myself, and I understand logically, it seems like for the sake of what I just showed, that one would want their fingerprint sensor to be on the front. But me personally, I'm an LG guy. I feel like LG were the ones who pioneered the fingerprint sensor being on the back of devices, and it got slammed when it first came out, but then everybody and their mamas started implementing that technology on their devices. And so that's just what I'm used to. I'm used to the fingerprint sensors being on the back. I would prefer that. So for me, if my phone is sitting on a surface and I want to check it out or whatever, it's no thing for me to pick it up and hit that fingerprint sensor to unlock it, because that's, to me, where the fingerprint sensor ought to be. When you're holding your device, your index finger typically rests right there. And so I think that it is perfect placement for the fingerprint sensor. All right, Samsung, you might want to take notes. All right, no diss, Sammy, no diss. I'm just saying. You feel me? All right, now moving along. Audio quality. All right. Now, the Mate 10 Pro, you've got dual stereo speakers. This isn't anything new for the Mate series. They've been had dual speakers. One of the main features that I thought was real key on the Mate 9 last year was the sound quality and the sound that the phone produced. And so again, here on the Mate 10 Pro, we have dual stereo speakers. We've got a speaker in the earpiece here, and then there's another bottom firing speaker here on the right of the bottom of the phone that provides a lot of the deeper tones, the bass and all that kind of thing. The treble and all that kind of stuff comes from the earpiece right there. Now, we don't have dual stereo speakers on the Honor View 10. Now, although the bottom firing speaker on the Honor View 10, it does sound good. It sounds nice and clear. Even at high volumes, it doesn't sound distorted. You don't hear any choppiness or anything like that. But the viewing experience, okay. The viewing experience on, or the listening experience, my apologies, on the Mate 10 Pro is just going to be a little better. Okay, now speaking of audio, because this is also worth mentioning, we got a lot of you folks out there, ladies and gentlemen, that still like to plug in. Now, on the Honor View 10, you do have a headphone jack. Okay, so whatever headphones that you're rocking out to, you still have the ability to plug into your phone and charge your phone at the same time and handle business. Now, with the Mate 10 Pro, you will notice that on the bottom of this device or on the top of the device, there is no headphone jack. All right, so they did away with the headphone jack. Now, there's a dongle in the box, right? And it's solid that Huawei, put this in the box, but you've got your little dongle. Okay, so you got your Type-C to 3.5 millimeter. This goes into the bottom of the device. Give a little demonstration. Boom. Now that hangs out at the bottom, and then there you go. You can plug your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack into the little dongle here, and that's how you still can listen. Now, some people, they don't like this because, again, it takes away your ability to listen to music and charge the phone if that's what you need to do, because you've got the dongle plugged into the Type-C port where you typically would charge the phone. Now, another gripe that I have with the Mate 10 Pro is the fact that you've got glass on the front and back. Why isn't this phone wireless charge capable? I should be able to wirelessly charge this device, considering the fact that it's made with glass. Now the View 10, I can understand the reason why it's not, because it's a full aluminum unibody. So it's just kind of hard to get those frequencies to go through the aluminum. But glass, man, Huawei, you ain't got no excuse. You know what I mean? So, Dre Mail, you know what I'm saying? My guy, my brother from another mother. Yeah, this is that dongle that I was talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? Get your facts straight, homie. Get your facts straight. Yeah, so you guys got to carry around a separate accessory if you want to be able to plug into the Mate 10 Pro. So again, this is a matter of preference. Some people may give the leg up to the View 10 because of the fact that it has a headphone jack on the device. Other people may not care too much about the fact that there's a dongle and there's no headphone jack on the Mate 10 Pro, because either they don't mind carrying the dongle around, which is a separate accessory, or they may just be completely wireless and they're not tripping over whether or not the phone has a headphone jack or not. And another thing too that comes in the device, or comes with the device, is a set of headphones here. And you can see with the Huawei Mate 10, these are some Huawei branded headphones. And you can see it's got the Type-C connector as well, which is what you'll plug in there. And that provides some excellent sound quality. It provides excellent sound quality. All right, y'all. So another thing worth mentioning is on the Mate 10 Pro, we have an IP rating. This phone is rated IP67 water and dust resistant. So you can get this phone wet. It can get, immersed in dust. And it's not going to affect the performance at all. Why? Because it's built for it. Now, on the Honor View 10, you have zero IP rating, which means if you get this phone wet, man, it's going to be a problem. Now I can't say that, it won't work, because I've seen some miraculous things. I've seen people drop devices in toilets and drop them in puddles or drop them in pools, and they have no IP rating, but somehow the phone still was able to function. Now, there was some malfunctions, right? But the person was still able to use the phone. Maybe they still can talk and text, but maybe the camera was janky or something was going on. You couldn't talk anymore, but you can text and, all that kind of thing. It ruined something. I mean, I've never seen a phone completely ruined by dropping it in water if you got it out of the water in time, But, depending on who you ask, that may be a leg up for the Mate 10 Pro because it's IP67 water and dust resistant. We have no IP rating for the Honor View 10 here. Now, another significant difference is the cameras. Okay, now, as you know, the Mate 10 Pro has Leica branded cameras. Okay, they pair together with Leica and they come together and they make magic happen with the cameras on the Huawei devices. Now, the Honor View 10 here, there's no Leica branding. But does that mean that the camera's a slouch? Not by a long shot, not by any stretch of the imagination, because the cameras on the Honor View 10 are amazing. Now, are they as amazing as the Leica branded cameras on the Mate 10 Pro? No, they're not. Okay, simply the cameras on the Mate 10 Pro and what Leica's doing with Huawei to come together. They're putting together some beautiful, beautiful hardware and software for this camera on the Mate 10 Pro. And so, you know, I got to say that the Huawei camera, it's got a slightly better camera. Some people may say, you know, the camera is better by leaps and bounds, but the footage that I saw, I don't really think so. I think that they're really, you know, they're closer than what the experts may think. I just think that the color reproduction and the way that that Leica does things with their camera lenses, it provides more of a realistic tone and realistic picture quality and color. Color reproduction and all of that kind of thing, but it's not to say that the cameras by any stretch of the imagination are a slouch on the View 10 Pro. And I've took some shots, selfies, and rear camera photos that I'll, you know, instill for you guys to go ahead and check out and let me know what you guys think about those. All right. Now, speaking of the cameras, you know, on the Mate 10 Pro, we've got a 12 megapixel primary and we've got a 20 megapixel monochrome sensor as the secondary lens on the back. Both of them, they have dual camera setups. Now, on the View 10, we've got a 16 megapixel primary sensor and also a 20 megapixel monochrome camera. On the front of the Mate 10 Pro, we've got an 8 megapixel sensor, and on the front of the Honor View 10, we've got a 13 megapixel selfie camera. Now, I gotta say, I feel like the selfie camera on the View 10 is better than the 8 megapixel sensor that's on the Mate 10 Pro. But when you swing it around, the rear cameras on the Mate 10 Pro are a little better than the rear cameras that are on the View 10. Okay, but you're not going to go wrong with either one of them. I mean, so in my personal opinion, it doesn't really matter which one of these devices you decide to go with. As far as your camera, you're in for a real treat from both of these devices. Now, here's another thing that I found interesting, and let's go ahead and focus there. Another thing I found interesting is that the Honor View 10 has facial recognition and the Mate 10 Pro does not. And I find that to be very interesting because the Mate 10 Pro is or was the main flagship device for Huawei. Now the P20 Pro and the P20 Pro or the Huawei P20 and the P20 Pro is out now. And so I know that that is Huawei's main flagship right now. In me in my personal opinion, I feel like that's the best phone out in the world right now, man. Hands down. But it's interesting to me that you would think that the phone that cost a little more and is known for having a lot of these bells and whistles, that those things would have been implemented on it, but in fact, it's not. And I understand there's supposed to be some type of update that's coming to the Mate 10 Pro that's going to allow you to have facial recognition. And if that's the case, I hope that it works as half as good as it does on the Mate 10 Pro, or on the Honor View 10 here. But the Honor View 10, it comes fresh out of the box with this capability. And I really feel as though Apple can really learn a thing or two from how Honor and Huawei decided to do this this face unlock, right? A lot of devices that have face unlock, they leave you with things to be desired because there's always this process in which you have to go through in order to get face unlock to work. What am I talking about? So like say the iPhone X, for instance, right? Let's go ahead and lock these devices. Now, the iPhone X, for instance, to get the face unlock to work, you have to tap the screen, swipe up, and then hold the phone up in order to recognize your face. Now, the 2 or 3 seconds that it took, maybe longer, to do all that, and that's if the face unlock detects your face and unlocks on the first try. Sometimes it's inconsistent, and you got to do it a couple of more times, you know what I mean, in order to get your face to get read and unlocked, right? Samsung, you know, the iris scanning, you know, scanning your biometrics. You still have to hit the power button or tap on the screen to wake up the screen or swipe up or swipe to the side or something and then hold the phone up. You know, let me show you guys. Let me show you guys something real quick, man. All right. When I think of face unlock, this is what I'm talking about. Because I've always thought to myself, how come we can't just have a device that is just laying on a surface? You pick it up, it recognizes that it's being picked up, and you just simply hold it up, and it scans your face and unlocks it within seconds. And it appears as though that is what Honor was able to accomplish with this face unlock. Check this out. Okay, it's on a flat surface, right? I'm going to pick it up, hold it up, and watch how fast this opens up. Did you see that? Did you guys see that, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, now I'm going to lock it. I'm going to put it back down. Let's try that again. Okay. Pan the camera down a little bit. Now you see, it's on a flat surface. I'm going to pick it up, okay, from the flat surface. Boom. Just like that. Now me, in my personal opinion, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what Face ID ought to be. So Apple, Samsung, y'all need to take notes on that, man. And I'm hoping that once an update does get pushed to the Mate 10 Pro here that gives this phone the ability to have face unlock, I hope and pray that it works as good as it works on the Honor View 10 here. Okay, now some of the differences that I've noticed, right? And this is a matter of preference. I mean, maybe this is something that you guys would utilize or not. But I also kind of feel like the View 10 appears to be offering a few more things than the Mate 10 Pro, surprisingly, because again, the Mate 10 Pro is the more expensive device. So again, you would think, why would the company that makes both of these devices, but the View 10 is the sub-brand division, why would Huawei make a device and call it their flagship, but then take their sub-brand division and help them create their version of the flagship, but then give more offerings to the cheaper sub-brand division over their own flagship? What am I talking about? Let's take it to settings here. All right. As I just showed you, there's no face unlock on the Mate 10 Pro. There is on the View 10, right? Now, let's just go down to, and you can see here, when you look at security and privacy, it just says fingerprint and screen unlock for the Mate 10 Pro. Now, security and privacy, on the View 10, you got fingerprint ID, face unlock, screen lock, and passwords. Okay, now, here's another thing. When you take it to display, let's go to display. And let's see. 1 second, baby. Okay, y'all. So my babies just walked in from a nap. They're a little groggy, so I got to get them situated. All right. When you go on the system navigation for both of these devices, now check this out. System navigation on the Mate 10 Pro. System navigation for the View 10. Okay, now we've only got two options for system navigation on the Mate 10 Pro versus the 4 options that you have on the Honor View 10. And I understand the Honor View 10, they have the front-facing fingerprint sensor, and this can be used for different things. Now, on the fingerprint sensor on the Mate 10 Pro, you can use it to, swipe down, use your finger to swipe down, and you can bring down the notification shade. You can do cool things like when you're in your Photos app, you can swipe your finger from left to right to scroll back and forth from photos without touching the screen. But I noticed this is interesting. With the front-facing fingerprint sensor here, you have 4 different options on how you want to navigate through your phone. Now, you can have off-screen navigation button, which if you click on that, and you go to details, and what that is it completely takes away the capacitive keys at the bottom, giving you access to the full 5.9 inches that this phone is offering. And you can navigate everything just with the touch of a finger. And it gives you a little tutorial on which way to swipe to get the different screens. That's pretty cool. Now, you have a navigation dock on the Mate 10 Pro, but it's the little touch dock that's on the screen, and you can do similar things. So basically what it is it's giving you like a digital dock on the screen to do basically what the View 10 is offering you to do, because it has the fingerprint sensor on the front of the device, and you can utilize your finger to navigate the device that way as opposed to something additional being on your screen, right? Now, that's the only option that it offers you, okay? Now, if we go back, then you got on-screen navigation keys, which go to settings. Now this is basically Honor's version of the navigation dock on the Mate 10 Pro, but instead it's like a little line. You guys know that the iPhone X, and how like at the bottom of the screen there's that little white line, and that line is there as an indicator to swipe up on it to perform certain actions. Well, this is the same thing. This is Honor's version of the same exact thing. And so, you know, having the ability to swipe to the left on that little bar or swipe to the right on that little bar. This little bar right here, if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, that little bar right there, if I set that setting in play, I can swipe left to perform an action, I can swipe right to perform an action, I can swipe up to perform an action, or I can swipe down on it to perform an action. And so, again, I mean, these are all things that you would have thought would have been offered on the Mate 10 Pro, but they're not. And maybe that just has to do with the fact that the fingerprint sensor isn't on the front. But nonetheless, it's something additional that you can utilize to navigate your device as opposed to just the two options that you're being given on the Mate 10 Pro. Now, go to the third option. Now you've got virtual navigation bar. And so basically what that's just the three keys that are on the screen. Okay. So, okay. You know, so it's talking about, you know, the ability to, you know, get rid of it, to take full advantage of the screen and then swipe up on it if you want it again. Okay, so we already know about that. And then the navigation dock. So it also gives you the option to have the little navigation dock on the screen, just like it is on the Mate 10 Pro. You see that? That's the same option right there. So as far as how to navigate your device, the Honor View 10 gives you two more ways in which you can navigate your device, as opposed to the two. Well, it gives you two more ways, which totals the amount of 4 different ways in which you can navigate your device, as opposed to the 2 options that it gives you on the Mate 10 Pro. Now, I just thought that was important to point out. It may not be a big deal. Some of you may find it to be a little gimmicky, but nonetheless, it seems as though it's offering more things than what's being offered on the Mate 10 Pro. And you would think a device that's being considered their main flagship for the moment until the P20 came out. And see, all this stuff is on the P20 and the P20 Pro. But it's just interesting how, you know, they've got certain implementations on the Mate 10 Pro, and then certain implementations on the Honor View 10. Okay, so those are mostly the key differences, ladies and gentlemen, of both of these devices. You can't go wrong with either one of them. Both of them are excellent, excellent devices. They're going to give you excellent top performance, you know, as far as like, you know, the power that you may need, the amount of gigabytes that you need, 6 gigs of RAM, and both of these 128 gigs of onboard storage. Like I said, you can expand the storage up to 256 gigs on the Honor View 10. On the Mate 10 Pro, you're just stuck with that 128 gigs, so I hope that's enough for you. But nonetheless, I mean, hardcore, heavy-duty gaming, some of the most graphically intense games that you can play, these phones, both of them, are going to handle them like true champions. There's not going to be any stutter. There's not going to be any lag at all whatsoever. Here's another key difference. The price. This is $499 plus tax. Taxes vary depending on where you are in the world, okay? The full retail price for the Mate 10 Pro is $799, $800. Now, it's discounted here in the U.S. because the U.S. retailers like Best Buy and other retailers that may be selling them, the only one that I know of in the U.S. is Best Buy that I know of. And I'm talking about retail stores that you can walk in, buy it, and walk out with it. That's going to be discontinued once all of their inventory is sold out. So right now, you can walk into a Best Buy and get a Mate 10 Pro for $650. But that's still $150 more than what you're paying for the Honor View 10 here. So if those differences don't matter to you and you want the little bit more of a premium, you know, feel as far as the cosmetics, you want a little bit more of a better camera, you want those dual stereo speakers, you want that AMOLED display, you want the bigger battery, then man, that extra Skrilla Scratch, cheddar cheese, Fetty, Yaper, whatever you call it, it's going to be worth it to you. But, you know, if you don't want to spend that much for a phone, but get a similar experience, then, hey, man, the Honor View 10 is definitely the way to go. This right now is the flagship killing device to beat, in my personal opinion, man. This is killing the OnePlus 5T, in my opinion. And the OnePlus 5T is no slouch of a device, not by a long shot. But in my opinion, flagship killers, right now, the Honor View 10 is the one to beat. All right. And as far as overall flagships, man, the Mate 10 Pro still stands stern against a lot of the competition that's out there, man. You know, these devices are some of the, you know, the cream of the crop right here. All right. So I hope that this comparison and this versus video, I hope you guys found this useful. I know this video was a little long, but I wanted to make sure that I got all my talking points out, because there are some clear differences. There's a lot of similarities in these devices, and like, as I mentioned, both of these devices are very much flagships in their respective brands. You know what I mean? But there are some differences, and I think a lot of the differences that I just, stated in the video are the key differences that you would need to know. And so, again, I hope this helps you guys make an informed decision if you're thinking about going with either one of these options. But personally, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. All right? So, you guys already know, man. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to smash that thumbs up button if you like this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of more videos that I've done like this one, and definitely stay tuned because I've got much more content and coverage on both of these phones coming. All right? So you guys already know, man. Until the next video, please stay safe, get spiritually fit, and keep it pristine in every aspect of your lives. All right? Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.